This is Ivy Unleashed,
a Gold Ivy production.
For me, is I trust myself again. I don't need, like, your long-winded answer was great, but like,
I'm long-winded, Ray.
I trust myself again. That's it. Like, yeah. I truly trust myself again.
Well, last time you were here, you were saying like you were in the process of building that. So it sounds like 75 hard kind of got you back to where you were wanting to go.
Correct. And the Monday after her birthday, I'm starting the next phase. I'm going to do the whole program.
What's the whole program?
So there's 3 phases. They're 30 days at a time.
3 phases after this, right?
Correct. There's 30 days at a time. Phase 1, you can start anytime after you finish 75 hard. It adds a 5-minute cold shower.
5 minutes?
Yeah. 10 minutes of dedicated visualization time, and then 3 additional tasks that move you forward on your goals. Then phase 2, you have to take a 30-day break between phase 1 and phase 2. And phase 2 is just 75 hard again for 30 days. Same rules, nothing added. And then phase 3 has to be completed within a year of your day 1 of 75 hard. So you have to be done by like day 364. And that brings back in the cold shower, the additional tasks. You have to do a random act of kindness, talk to a stranger for 10 minutes and learn something about them.
Every day.
10 minutes?
For 30 days.
Is it really 10 minutes?
Yeah. It's 5 or 10.
Okay.
It's one of the two. Like I have a client who's done it, and she had phase 3 April of 2020 when nothing was open.
Oh, man.
So she would walk to a gas station and talk to people while they were pumping their gas.
Would your health coaching clients count?
No, because they're not strangers.
But what if it's your initial call with them?
I don't talk to people on the phone. It's all text.
Oh.
So could it work for us? Wow.
And so like I was thought about starting today because I took the cold shower today, but I won't get the water in.
How cold are we talking?
Like as cold as your shower goes.
No.
5 full minutes.
5 minutes.
What's the reasoning for the cold shower? Like why?
Well, there's the health benefits. One, and then 2, it's just gets you more uncomfortable.
Mental.
Yeah. Like Tony Robbins always says, he starts his day with a cold shower because what he's doing is he's training his mind to say, when I say do something, you do it.
Correct. Mm-hmm. I've heard him say that. Ed Milet has one of those like $30,000 cold tubs that circulates water, and it's like colder than freezing. There's a lot. And the other thing the more I've read and the more I've listened to people talk, Ed Milet doesn't drink. Andy rarely.
And Milet does drink.
Not a lot, though.
Right, yeah.
Andy doesn't drink a lot. Tony Robbins doesn't drink a lot. Gary Vee doesn't drink.
We always talk about this, yeah.
Like, Brené Brown doesn't drink.
So it's like the most influential people in our world right now don't touch alcohol, but it's pushed on us constantly. And part of me, we've talked about other things that I think are purposely pushed. I think there's a reason for it. Like, drunk people are really easy to control, like if they're constantly in that. And I don't like feeling out of control anymore. Like we would go to bed at night, like both of us, like hammered. If somebody broke into our house, like we're screwed. You know, like I just don't like feeling like out of control anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something I keep thinking about too is the importance of who you surround yourself with. Right? Like you are the 5 people you spend the most time with, and just thinking about booze and these habits. Like if you're around people who aren't supporting you, you're not going to be likely to follow through. And so taking a moment just to think about right here, right now, like, are the people in your life supporting you? How are they impacting your day to day? Because it is so, so important.
I put this in a post, I think a week ago.
We talk a lot about this actually in the last couple of days.
Like my close circle of friends all live, the closest ones are an 8.5 hour drive. One of my best friends lives in just outside of DC. We're meeting in St. Louis this weekend. So I have those strong relationships from afar. My closer circle, like Matt, Siobhan, like if I thought about quitting this time, anytime through 75 hard, both of them would have been at my house, like chewing my ass. that's huge. But I think the other thing, the post I made about us, that picture at Dean's, like, I don't need anyone else. Yeah. Like, I have my friends, but like, she helps me get through like literally anything.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me cry.
Oh. Well,
You are.
a theme I keep thinking of what you two have done is your values.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to your values. You're figuring out what you value. Your friends know that you valued gaining that trust back so they would be at your door, right? It's having people that know they're not connected to their values. Let me talk to them about it. Or they're doing something that's really true to them. Let me support them, right? And so if someone in your life is giving up alcohol or trying to eat healthier, these healthy habits, support them. If you're a true friend, support them.
If they say no, it means no.
Well, and if you don't understand, first, it's not for you to understand, but to ask more questions, like, why are you doing this? Why is this important to you? Because if you care about someone, then you care what their answer is, and then you support them through it, right?
Well, like when Matt and Siobhan were over like 2 weeks ago, Matt doesn't really drink anymore, and he brought over like an NA beer, and I went to grab one. He goes, bro, it's got 0.05% alcohol in it. He's like, don't fuck it up. And I was like, good looking out. And it's just like little things like that. And too, and we've talked about this a lot, like, I have to be more comfortable with people not supporting what we're trying to do. Like my parents drove down for a race that meant nothing. It was a training run and they were there. Like, that's what's normal to me, is like having people like super supportive around you, but I'm having to get more comfortable with that's not how everybody operates. Mm-hmm. And so kind of going back to like what I want to do with the 100, like I just want her there.
How do you balance, you mentioned having the tolerance of others. How do you balance, this is for me, this is important for me to do, and like tolerating people having no standards for themselves or less standards for themselves, or saying I'm too busy or I don't have the time? Like, how are you separating that and not like letting that get to you?
That's why I literally only hang out with like 3 people now. Seriously. And I've taken that to heart. Like, would you say I'm only around people now who like make me better? Mm-hmm. Like, and that's what I purposely seek out. Like, the people I'm going to be hanging out this weekend are like, and I've said this all the time, I still don't understand why they're my friend. Like, they're CFOs, they're these type of people. And that's who I want to be around. That's who I'm pulled towards. And so I've made decisions that suck. And we've talked about these decisions of like, no.
But sometimes it comes off as you think you're better than people.
And if that's how they interpret how I feel, that's not my problem.
Right.
And that's
Can you have compassion for people though? Like, can you have compassion for someone that's kind of a friend, that's kind of in your life, and they're like, that's ridiculous what you're doing. Like,
and again, have your opinion. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be supportive of what I'm doing, that's okay. Do your thing, but you're probably just not going to see me.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of, I can relate to that in a different way, where every summer I get together with a group of girls that we all are friends through different pockets of our lives. And we get together, and it's kind of that, I've noticed that misery loves company, where they will make comments like you said, like, oh, I'm fat and happy and I'm, overweight and I'm just fine. But are you really? But that's not for me to say to that person. That's for her to have on her own journey. I'm not going to be close with that person just because we have different values. We have different priorities. Maybe they'll be in my life-ish, but we're not going to be close. I can separate, okay, that's you. This is me. I don't need to prove to you. You don't need to prove to me. We have that line. But we're not going to be close. I'm not going to come to that person for support. I'm not going to come to that person for advice because we have different priorities, I guess.
So are you saying that if someone has unhealthy lifestyle behaviors, it's hard for you to be close with them?
Yes and no, because we have that. I have that in my own family we all do that. Again, it's not But for me to put judgment on someone else, but does it affect me? Probably. It does kind of cause a wedge. It does kind of cause some feelings. I don't think that you can't be friends with somebody just because you have different values or opinions, because maybe that person will come along and change their opinion. Maybe they don't. But why is my opinion correct and theirs is not? But I have to do what's right for me and how I feel is important to live my life.
Yeah. I think it's tough because it's like we're talking about 75 hard. And I feel like when you're in the midst of that challenge, social support is crucial. Like you don't want to be around someone that's eating McDonald's every day when you're in the midst of this. But then you go back to normal life, right? And you're going to Thanksgiving and you're around a family member that smokes or a family member that consistently just sucks at taking care of themselves, right? But then they're your family or they're in your circle maybe. And so I guess it's interesting how to handle those relationships on whether they push you forward or not, or do you just, it's their life, let's let them have their own journey of figuring out their health and then.
Yeah, and I come off as like I'm going like to cut these people completely out of my life, and I don't mean it to sound like that, but you know, I've taken this I've thought about this a lot because that's what you have to do when you run by yourself. Is like, would I want this X person to raise my kid if I died? Right? Do I want their values? Okay, now if they're going to be around me, there's a really good chance they're going to be around my kids. Now, those two knuckleheads and how they grew up, that's like my biggest job in life, right? Is to set them up to be as successful as they can. I'm going to screw up. I screw up every single day as a parent, but I pick who they associate with as adults, right? So would I rather have my kids around you, or would I rather have my kids around somebody who is 200 pounds overweight, who drinks 7 days a week, who just models bad behaviors about everything? Who am I going to pick? You, right? Or people have to have that moment, like we've talked about, where they're like, something needs to change. And as soon as somebody says that to me, I will bulldoze a mountain over to help you.
That's the thing. They have to want to. You
have to want to. And I think through both of us, we've had people say, like, you doing this has helped me start doing X. You know, like your mom. Your mom's lost, I think, 8 pounds now. And like, when I explained to her, I'm like, hey, if you just keep doing that, you'll lose 52 pounds in a year. Like, keep going. And getting back to the support thing, like, you don't have to stop your life because we're doing something. But it could be as simple as, hey, like, you're kicking ass, keep going, don't stop. Like, that simple text message could mean the world to somebody. It meant the world to me when I got it from a couple people. And those, maybe them sending that text message is their awakening to, oh, this is possible, right? So it's not that I look down on people who are choosing to live the life they're living. It's more I feel not bad, but I have some empathy for them. Like, what kind of pain are you feeling that you need to medicate with alcohol or food or Netflix or porn or whatever it is? Like, it's the empathy of how they got to that point. And that's where now I'm trying to find, like, how can I get better at helping those people who are pre-contemplative? They're oblivious that they need to make a change, you know, and how do you do that? And I do think it is through role modeling the behaviors, because like I said, like I was turning into the person I hate with a passion. And that's why I think I was so upset all the time, is because I literally hated who I was. And I think if you can role model, and you did that for me when you were 10 days ahead of me, I was like, oh, she's doing this. She's being, and that's what got me going was you. So it's like, if we can do this, and like, that's your goal too, is to be a role model for other people. So it's like, why not show that you can do like extremely hard things? It doesn't have to be 75 hard, but maybe it's like somebody in this neighborhood who needs to go for a 45-minute walk. that sees you every time you walk, you give them a wave, and maybe the next day you see them walking. You know, I think that is where, and Andy talks about this, where like 75 hard, like legitimately, I think this is true now, can change. I don't want to say the world, but like can change a lot of people for the good, because all the physical attributes, like you talked about the 6-pack, the 8-pack started to come in. But what people don't see is like me having fun in the mirror, taking that picture, like having fun with myself again, right? You did the same thing. Like you would send me pictures and be like, oh, look how good I look. And I'd be like, okay, parenting powwow, let's go. But I think that role modeling piece for the people in your life who you care about, who might not necessarily care about themselves, if they can say, oh, he can do 2 45-minute workouts, or he ran for 5 hours and now I see his dumbass walking, you know, around the neighborhood, I can go for a walk today.
Yeah, you're showing people what's possible. It's the same idea behind the, first person to run the 4-minute mile.
And now like high school kids do it
exactly
10 times a day.
Yeah. I think too, it's showing people how possible it is to feel good and to have the energy. And, oh, that person is radiating from the inside out. Like, I want to feel that way. How do I feel that way? Okay, let me start following them on social media. Let me start seeing what habits they're putting into place. Like, we're not saying you have to do 75 hard, right? All of these things. But when you start looking at the people who you look up to and your role models, like, how are they behaving? Because their actions are saying something about you, whether it's positive or negative, right? If they're feeling a certain way, something in you is saying, ooh, I want to feel that way too. And it is possible.
It's not that you stop living your life. And he's very clear about that. Like, go to the party, go to the dinner, don't stop living, because then you're not getting anything out of this, because then it doesn't translate to your life. You know, so you're supposed to, that's why part of me wants to do phase 1 before your birthday, because I'm not going to drink anyway. And you don't even know what we're doing. So like,
I'm going to have a good time. Yeah.
But
I have a sexy black dress that I can wear now and feel good in. So yes.
When's your birthday?
November 18th.
Oh, we do know what she's doing.
You guys know.
Oh, yes, we do.
But like, she tried on that dress and I was like, legitimately, I think I locked you in the bathroom.
But that was my goal. Oh, no, that was not my goal. But my goal,
To be locked
my
in the
goal
bathroom.
was to feel good on my birthday and like feel confident and back to myself.
How old are you going to be?
We don't talk about that.
But it's about feeling good, and that looks different for everyone. And there's the desire to want to, right? If you're listening to this, for those people who are like, absolutely not, like, we can't convince you to want to do this. But if there's someone who's listening that's like, ooh, I could use some more energy, I want to fit in that sexy black dress, like, follow Jolene and Ray on social media, follow people who inspire you, who are doing the things that you want to be doing, to see that it is possible.
Yeah, and I've created a challenge that is different than what they did. That, to me, I think committing to something for 30 days is a big commitment. Maybe for you, 7 days is a lot of a commitment to follow through with not drinking for 7 days. Some people, that's really hard, you know? Start there. Maybe pick 5 things you want to do for a week, follow through. And it's like what Jolene said, like, she checked the boxes and it felt good. And that's what this is about. It's building that trust. It's following through. And so you could create your own with,
And do it with a partner.
Yeah.
And the Ed Milet thing is how I got through those first 10 days. I was like, I can do this one time 75 times. And that's kind of like how the process went. And then my friend Kelly, who I'm staying with this weekend, sent me a text when I had 7 days left. He said, don't let days turn into weeks. And that was like aha.
Cool.
One more.
Yeah. Love that.
So simple, yet so powerful. I feel like we could talk about this forever, because you guys have learned so much and it's amazing. I'm so proud of you both. It's incredible. You're inspiring so many other people to take control of their life, to feel better. Like, by you taking care of you, you are giving other people the permission to do so too. So thank you for coming on Ivy Unleashed again, sharing your experience and being such an inspiration.
Yeah. And if people want to follow along I know you've both been on the podcast before, but where can they find you?
I have a private account, but you can still request me on Instagram.
Talking Tots.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk about Talking Tots for a second.
I am very like a personal, private person. So my
You went on
personal
TV.
account. Okay, well that's different. My personal private account is for me and just to share pictures of my kids, and but I do have a business account called Talking Tots, and so that is more business related to speech and language, speech therapy, which is what I do.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And
I'm
Ray?
on Instagram.
On Instagram.
I have like 12 different ones, but the only one I pay attention to right now is Ray Law.
All right. So now it's time for the 3 gold stars. However you two want to do this.
Choosing yourself is not selfish if it makes you a better person in the end.
Love that.
Find the thing that scares you and do it.
And 3.
Don't tell anyone. That was the biggest mistake I made with 75 Hard is telling people.
Why?
But didn't you like the accountability or when they would encourage you?
I hated it when people would be like, this is, again, don't take this personal, anybody who listens to this. If I don't look up to you and you know I don't look up to you or we have a very close relationship or like I value your opinion, don't tell me you're fucking proud of me. That bothers me so much.
What? Why?
I don't know.
I just told you I was proud of you both. Shit.
No, again, like I said, it's just like I want someone to be proud of me who's like accomplished things, like big things. Like it's almost like that parenting. Like if my dad tells me he's proud of me, that like makes my week. If some random person on Instagram is like, I'm so proud of you for doing this.
You mean it's not genuine?
Yeah, it's not genuine,
It's not.
or it's like, I don't want you to. I don't care. Like I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it's like cringy to me where I'm like, this is gross.
See, but Ray, this is what I'm talking about, where it almost comes off like if people aren't doing the things at the level that you're doing, they're like pieces of shit and you don't want to hear from them.
No. I want to hear from people, but like,
But they can't say they're proud of you.
What do you want them to say?
Yeah.
Way
like,
to go.
keep pushing, keep going. Like proud means you're
How
dumb.
about you inspire me?
That's fine. Yes, that's good. But so how I hear proud is I'm done with something.
Oh, okay.
But you are done with 75
I'm not
hard.
done. Because that was just part of where I'm trying to go.
Okay.
So like you can be like, say you're proud of me at my funeral.
Oh.
But what if they're less than you or not?
They can still be proud of me at my funeral if I packed as much life as I could into whenever I die.
Okay.
I don't know where this comes from either, because I just started to notice it in the last like week when people are like, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, for what? Like,
I think you're going to learn more about this because it sounds like you're starting to notice that it's doing something to you.
yeah,
should
and I don't know
journal
if
about
it's
it.
like my Enneagram 3 where it's just like I'm constantly like striving.
Yeah. Or you want the acknowledgement of people that you admire because it means that you are somebody.
Correct. I think that's what it is, because like that's what a 3 wants. They want, to have the gold star, on their name, and I've noted like it. Sick to my stomach is wrong, but that's like it's just this visceral like ew.
You might have to work through that, right? Because you have a social media platform.
That's fine.
People are going to keep saying things that are going to piss you off.
And that's
forever.
fine. Like I like say thank you. It's not like I tell them to like fuck off. I'm like, oh thanks, da 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 da. But it's like, I think being proud of something should be like our other pet peeve of like humbling. There's certain things to be proud of. Like you shouldn't be proud that you like tied your shoes today. Like it's the first time Sutton does. Yeah, I'll be super proud of her. But the third time, I'm not going to tell her I'm proud of her for tying her shoes. Or like, I'm so humbled by that. Like you walked around stage in a bikini against other girls in a bikini and you won. Like there's nothing humbling about that.
Maybe for them it is though.
But like,
What's their personal reason for doing something? What if maybe they're handicapped and they're
not.
just learned how to tie their shoe?
That's different. I would be very proud of them too. I think, okay, this is, now you're starting to wrap my thoughts together, is the being proud, right? You should be proud of something that's very difficult to accomplish.
Okay.
Now that I've finished 75 hard, it's hard. I'm proud of myself for doing it, but I didn't do it to get the accolades from other people.
Okay.
And that's where I think it's like, if you have a personal goal, the only person you should want to make proud is yourself. And I think that's why it bothers me so much, because like the fitness things I do for myself and my family. That's who I want proud of me. I don't want Joe Schmo to be like, I'm so proud of you for finishing 75 hard, and this is the first time we've ever interacted. Like, that's weird to me. I think
that
weird
makes
is
sense.
Yeah, I think it's like, you don't know what this really means to me.
right.
Whereas, you know, people close to you, they know you've done this to rebuild the trust, and like you've really accomplished something more than just doing these things for 75 days.
Right. And that's, so you wrap my thoughts around why it feels gross to me is like, I do things for us and myself. Like, I don't do it for other people. The only person who I would want to say that they're proud of me for something athletic would be Ishmael. He's the guy that owns Jiu-Jitsu gym.
I was gonna say, shout out Ishmael.
What up, Ishmael?
But like outside of that, like in my parents, it's like, I don't need you to be proud of me for doing something. Like, I'm proud of myself. That's enough. You've sent me one DM in 5 years that you've been following me. And now
It's almost, it's like you've wrapped so much meaning into this, and it's like this bubble, and someone trying to like get in there, you're like, I don't know. You don't even know what this means.
Yeah, you don't know me.
Created this thing.
right. Like,
And it has nothing to do with you.
if we were going back and forth, like if you said, hey, Ray, I'm proud of you, that would mean something to me because we have a relationship. You were part of it. You ran with me for 3 hours almost. Like, you were there. You've been part of the journey. Like, so that's different than a random person being like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
What are you proud of? Like, that I walked and drank some water?
I think it's just another example of sometimes people say things without actually thinking what they're saying, right? They have no ill intent. They're trying to uplift you. But if you actually think about what you're saying and the meaning attached to what you just did, it doesn't really make sense to say that.
I guess an example to me would be like somebody saying to you, you don't need to get any fitter. You don't need to keep running. You don't need to get a faster marathon time. Like,
People say things like that all the time to me.
and in the back of your head, you're like, you fucker. Like, they don't get it. And so I think the proud thing to me is like, you don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
makes
makes sense. Jinx.
Look at you. You went from that was a really strange thing to say and we didn't understand it to
Did we just health coach the shit out of you?
You did. Where's the ketamine?
All right, next up, Unleashing Ivy. Rapid fire questions. Jolene, this one's for you. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
What would you say to someone who says they don't have enough time to take on a challenge like this?
I would say I didn't have enough time to take on a challenge like this. I don't believe we all have the same 24 hours because we don't. We do, but we all have different baggage and different things that we deal with day to day, just different levels of life. And we don't have the same 24 hours. But there are hours and time that you can find to squeeze in time for yourself, where you push your clock back a little bit earlier, get up a little bit earlier. You put the kids to bed, and maybe instead of watching TV, you make a better choice and go for a walk or walk on the treadmill or do yoga or something. So I don't. What?
Go to bed.
Well, no. But yeah, we have time. You just have to find time and be creative about your time.
Love it.
Ray. What is it like when your spouse is doing 75 hard with you versus when you're doing 75 hard just on your own in the same household?
In the beginning of this time, it made it easier for me. Because, I mean, that's how we connected. Like, kids would go to bed. You'd drink a half a bottle of wine. I'd have a couple glasses of whiskey, and we'd watch a movie or sit outside or do whatever. And we didn't have that. It makes it easier. But like the first 10 days she did on her own, the last 10 days I did on my own. She didn't drink. You didn't change anything. You maybe had a couple like pieces of candy at Thanksgiving, Halloween, but it's, it made it easier. but it still sucked because, like I started the same day she did and quit 3 days into it. So, I mean, and I just said, I was using alcohol as a coping mechanism, shitty day at work, turned around, it's right there. So yeah, it made it easier. And, I saw her like, even after like day 6, like little edge to you in a good way. So it really helps, but again, it's not, and I hear this with my clients all the time. My husband drinks, and my husband does this. He's at Buffalo Wild Wings. He's going whatever, XYZ. You love him. Does he support you? Well, yeah, he's not pushing anything. Okay, cool. Keep going. And then again, like, what is that quote? We love quotes.
Yeah, we do.
It's something around the lines of, if you don't have a supportive partner, you don't have a partner.
100%.
That's powerful.
Yeah. I love that.
All right, last question. This is for both of you.
Should we hold hands?
Yes.
Jolene, you're first.
And they kind of said this before, but it's their anniversary. And so we're celebrating you two together. You're adorable. And if you want to hold hands or make out, have at her.
Please don't.
Don't tempt me. Like, I'm like a 14-year-old boy around her now.
Oh.
It's really annoying.
All right, what do you admire the most about each other? Jolene, you go first.
I'm going to cry.
Good. Always our goal. Look at him. He's getting started already.
Maybe that's my thing. Oh, you are.
We always get him to cry, and it's always about Jolene.
Yep.
You do. Okay, my favorite thing about him is I think his work ethic, and I'm not looking at you. I'm not talking about like how he works hard at work and that. When he says something he's going to do, he does it. And that is something important to me, that he follows through. And I know this is your 100th time of doing 75 hard. And it was so annoying listening to you do this over and over. I'm going to do 75 hard. I'm like, God, here we go again. But like one day he was going to do it, and he finally did it. And when he says something, he puts his mind to it and his whole heart and soul, and he does do it. Might take you a little while, and, but to figure out your own self and get out of your own head, but he does. And I think that his desire to kind of dive into himself and kind of figure out, why do I think this way, and why am I this way, and just that self-development.
Mm-hmm. Ray, what about you?
Can I text it to you? So,
What do you admire the most about Jolene, Ray?
okay, I'm in 2 parts of this because I'll ramble again. I think she's one of the most resilient people I've ever met in my life. Mr. Gray, making goosebumps. Just like knowing her story and the things she's overcome, and how she doesn't let that like affect our relationship, the relationship she has with our kids, and like her resiliency as a mom too, and obviously being married to me as a wife, but like just how great of a mother she is. That's like one of the things. And I think that comes back to that resiliency piece of her. She shows up every day and gives her best to the kids and me. 90% of the time, I don't deserve her best. But she still shows up and does that. And one thing I think she's got a lot better at that I really, really enjoy is like having fun and just being silly and being stupid. Like the video I posted last night, like that's the new norm. Like before, you would have been pissed if I posted that on social media. But yeah, her resiliency is the thing like I look to her for.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful.
Love that. Well, we're so happy that we know both of you. I mean, we said this before, but you've both been on the podcast. Jolene's episode 85.
Yes.
And the resiliency that Ray is talking about is in that episode. And it's heart-wrenching. When you said that word, I'm like, oh, that is such a good word for her, because you've been to hell and back. And your relationship is beautiful with your husband and your kids. And so proud of both of you. Ray, I love that you go there with us. Like you're this hard, tough guy that says shit that drives us crazy sometimes, but then you get vulnerable and you, like Jolene said, you dig into why you think the way you think. You're open-minded sometimes on like things that you would never think that you would be open-minded to. And it's cool that you'll sit down and have some hard questions thrown at you and that you're not afraid of them and that you're vulnerable online too. I mean, you post a picture, but you explain what you're struggling with. And I think that's powerful. And I think as a male to talk about challenging yourself to hard things, you know, that masculinity, like that's sexy. Like that's what you want from your man. Like you want your man to like get tough and try and do hard stuff, but then you're a softie where you're crying over Sutton going to kindergarten and you know, it's really cool to see a male talk about their mental health, what they struggle with, and pushing through the social norms of just being a tough guy. We don't talk about those things. You know, we're like happy you're here.
And that's one thing I'm trying to be better at is like the mental health piece and being vocal about it. Because I mean, like 85% of the people that commit suicide are males is because like they don't have those hard conversations with somebody, with their self, with their spouse, with a friend, with a therapist. I mean, like I've been at the rock bottom. I had that gun right there ready to go. And it is November. It's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So dudes, if you're listening to this, I know it's probably like 8% of your audience. Or if you're a wife, if your husband is like struggling, tell him to go talk to somebody. There's an app that's amazing. You don't need to see anybody, or you can do what I did. And
What's the app?
what's it called? Talkspace, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Talkspace. Yeah. I mean, I'm the happiest I've been, and I think I've cried more in the last 3 weeks than I have in the past. 2 weeks ago, I was like keep crying, throwing up, and Sutton came into my office.
Why?
Something at work was ripped like away from me, unexpected. And Sutton was home, and she came in, and she just gave me a hug, and she's like, "There'll be another chance."
Oh.
And that made me cry even harder.
So I admire both of your vulnerability, and we love you guys, and we're so grateful
High five.
you're here.
Happy anniversary.
Yes. All right.
So our kids can stay here tonight so we can have anniversary activities.
Andrea?
Woo! I don't care. They're funny.
All right, we got to go.
All right, let's wrap it up so you can go. Let's leave our listeners with a piece of gold. Quote. We know you love quotes.
Shit. So I'm a Harry Potter fan. And I think there is some good stories in there that relate. This is one from Dumbledore. It's the quote. It's my bookmark. And it says, "Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy." And that was kind of been my mantra through 75 Hard and even going forward.
All right. And Jolene, your piece of gold.
Okay, this quote is from an unknown author. It says, "The happiest people I know are evaluating and improving themselves. The unhappy people are usually evaluating and judging others."
This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold.